Welcome, Mere Mortals. I am Kyron.
And I am Juan.
Very good. We are the Mere Mortals crew, the podcast, everything you want to know. I'm going to get into today's session just by giving you a bit of a glimpse of what I'm going to be talking about. It's going to be running. I'm sorry, people. It's
more running.
It's literally taking up so much of my time that all I can talk about now is running. So I'm going to be talking about what Juan was prompting me to do not too long ago, which was finally hit above 30 Ks, which I can confirm I've done. So I'm going to talk about just how much that sucked.
Good.
And that's going to take up basically
that's gonna, yeah, well, 30 Ks is a long time, so I want to hear about that. Mine's going to be interesting. So these are some learnings that I've picked up from a little while back and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you about them. So, and they're going to be pretty complex. They can get deep. So it's going to be about the universe itself and its inexplicability and capriciousness, the activity and accomplishment, and something about practice and outcome. So there's going to be lots in there, but let's start let's start lighthearted with your topic, and then we'll get into something like that.
Some deep stuff there for one. Damn, universe. All right, so I can confirm I've done a 3/4 marathon. I see no props for that anywhere. Like,
yeah, only people say like half marathon and full marathon. Yeah, where's the props?
Can't find any stats for that, so I'm just gonna talk about it. So I rated it. So we have a rating system for our workouts. Just a general thing. I don't know if you actually use it. I do use it in my notes.
No.
Okay, so for one, it's sort of just a general thing. For me, it's a ranking from 1 to 10, very similar to how I rank
book reviews,
similar to how I rank women as well. I don't really focus on like the 1 to 4 range. That's not what I'm in this for.
Yep.
So usually a workout sort of centered around a 7 on average. 6 is okay, I did it okay. 8's like, damn, that's pretty good workout. Probably a PB, and then definitely a PB to get above 8. I rated this a 9 out of 10. That happens.
Wow.
I've checked my notes. That happens basically once a year.
Once a year. Okay, so it's a once a year effort.
Maybe twice a year. Twice a year. But yeah, it's definitely like, holy shit,
for the marathon.
This was a huge thing. So I did do my 3/4 marathon. I did it like a psycho by running around an AFL field. It was basically 500 meters a lap. So what's that? 60 laps.
Times.
60 something laps.
Jeez.
More than that, probably 65 laps because I did 31.65 to be exact. And it just sucked, man. I don't know why people really enjoyed running. Like, I used to enjoy running a little bit when it was 5Ks, getting prepped for soccer.
Yep.
Oh, 5Ks, I'll do this as quick as I can. Now it's like getting up into these long ones, it just goes, man, there's a lot of time.
3 hour worth of running.
Man, this is really hurting everything. It's really hurting everything. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the things I learned from it, because this might be useful for you. So we have talked about previously, and you actually did call this out, Kyron, I think your strategy might be a little bit dumb, because if you're getting above that maximum, so not in the
like
zone 2
maximum
training,
lactate threshold,
basically where you're going to start building up lactic acid everywhere.
Yep.
So, and I was like,
it's going to come to a point where it's like your body's going to say like, that's it.
Yeah,
that is it.
And I was like, but I know I'm quicker when I run hard, and then I sort of take a little break, and then run hard and take a little break, and just gradually over time it decreases. So I was like, no, I'm going to do my strategy, and it worked pretty damn good. So I got some points in the fitness challenge by doing a half marathon in, I'm not sure exactly what time. My phone beeped at 1 hour 50, and I'd done 21.88.
Yeah. So it was sub 1 hour 50.
Yeah. 1 hour, let's just say 46, 40, 47, around that. So, damn, that's pretty good, Kyron. You're halfway through, and you've still got 2 hours, 13 minutes to do the next half marathon. Killing it. I'm even thinking, if I get this done now,
here we go, marathon time.
If I get the 3/4 marathon in less than 3 hours, I will probably go to try and get it in less than 4, do a full. That's just in the back of my mind.
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
playing around there.
Let's just try and get this 3/4 done. So I'm running. Strategy's gone good. Hitting 26 Ks. I'm still running at like a 5-minute, 25 kilometer pace, something like that. So I'm still underneath of where I need to be. Like, I'm still making gains.
Yep.
Then I hit the 28. I'm like, my calves are really hurting now. They're really starting to hurt.
Yeah.
And from 28 to 31.65, it was just brutal. Absolutely brutal. by
What was the like specific change? Like, what did you feel that the like kilometer boundary basically, that 28ish?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it was. I think because I was fighting against this tendency, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the learnings of how I actually managed to do so much better than previous. I think it was the pain just got to an intolerable level for me. After this experience, I've realized buds, the Navy SEAL training, I'm never going to be the guy who passes that. I don't have that psycho switch in my brain to flick on, which is like, this is getting done no matter what, no matter how much pain, no matter
what. I welcome death in this path.
No, I think the reason I resonate so much with that quote from George Orwell in 1984 from Winston Smith, in the face of pain, there are no heroes. That's, for me, bang on. In the face of pain, Kyron is not a hero. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, people, that burning building, I'll try and get in, but if it's too painful, fuck yeah, you're burning to death.
Yep.
So you actually saw me right at the end, and you can attest. So maybe give the people a little bit of what you saw right at the end.
I'll go to the other view. So I've just finished a horrendously long 3 kilometer run. So, I was finishing up the 3K run, checked the time. Oh, it's pretty good. And I thought, Kyron must be out here somewhere. He must be running, because I can see his car.
Yeah, you saw my car.
So I go, you know what? He's probably running around the bloody AFL Oval. So I go over to go and check, and I'm like, oh, I can't really spot him. And then I see out of the corner of my eye, this sort of like human stick figure just drawing himself towards his car and just kind of like limping. But it wasn't really limping, because you were basically not wanting to bend your ankles and knees. So you can't just like kind of stick figure walking towards the car.
It's like limping on both legs at once.
And so you opened the door, and you were just like bent over, like just in pain. I just went over and be like, oh man, how did the 30K go? And you just like the face of pain and agony. You were just like, oh man.
Yeah. So 20. Well, I was going to say like, 5 minutes before this is what I was like. But no, 25 minutes before this is what I was like. That's when I was hitting the Kyron's in pain point.
Yeah.
So I was definitely jogging up until 30Ks, and then I was definitely walking from 30 to 31.65. So if you look at my stats, I'll chuck them on the screen somewhere. You'll see not only my split times, where they're like, hovering around the 5 minutes, dips into the 6, back into the 5, like, oh, he's going pretty good. And then it just goes like 7, 10, 13, 17 minutes per kilometer. And the graph as well, it's like this nice looking, it's trending upwards, but it's a pretty linear graph. And then
parabolic straight up.
Yeah. So I had to walk, man. I just physically could not run.
Yep.
And now people will say this is a mental thing. If this is what the wall is like, I'm not sure, because it was just in my calves. It was just in here. Upper body, man, I felt like I could go for ages. I didn't feel any tightness in the core. Little something in my lower back, but overall, everything was perfectly fine.
Yep.
Glutes were fine. Hamstrings were fine. Thighs, quads, everything. Knees, ankles, just the calves, man. Just the calves. So,
the calves, the pain of them.
If you go back into our Instagram from a little while back, you'll see a Monday meme Juan has posted, which just is bang on point for me.
And I made that meme before you did the 30K run too. So it's
he anticipated it.
I anticipated what was going to happen
magnificently. So, first of all, do you think you are going to reach this sort of level that I've reached, or do you think your training, more like your training style when you're getting up to these longer lengths? Do you have a feeling you're going to have experiences similar to this, or do you think you're going to be training in a different way, so you'll have other problems? Because you're going to have problems no matter what.
Yeah, you're going to have problems. I think I'm going to train in a way that's going to have problems in a different sense. Because I'm going to try and build it so that I'm not doing the walk sprint, because I think that would, eradicate my heart rate and my calves for sure. Because always like sprinting fast twitch on my calves. Yeah, the built up of just stress residual and lactic acid would just be like phenomenal. I'd be like dead. The other day I actually ran, that was a couple of weeks ago, I ran 5Ks, and this was just after I sort of like hurt my ankle, and I could feel up through one of my calves like just so much pain. And I was like trying to run fast, and I was like, no, imagine that for 30Ks.
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah.
So I think I can of course see that there's going to be challenges. What it is though, I don't know. I think maybe like cramps. Cramps would be one thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big lover of water and always having salt, but maybe too much water.
Yeah.
So there might come a point that because I sweat a lot, you do as well, I'm just going to get to too much cramping and be like, oh, dang.
Or stitches as well. I've recently been feeling it. I didn't feel it in this one, and I think it's maybe because I got to that point where I just ran through it. But a bunch of the others around the 10, 15K mark, I've developed a stitch, and it's just hung around the entire time.
Well, here's another tip for people out there. Obviously, if you're as dumb as me, then you need this tip. But I ran 3.5Ks yesterday, and just beforehand I decided like, okay, I'm going to have my multivitamin and my fish oil and my, can't remember what the other one is, my glutamine, just before. And normally, and I didn't have too much food, and normally that like opens up in your stomach, and it does tend to come back up if you have enough food.
Like sort of burping wise, or
burping, and you can feel it, and like it actually mixes with my stomach pretty badly. So I'm like running, and I'm like, oh man, I just had this massive stomach ache the whole time basically, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be doing this run.
Beautiful.
But yeah, so don't do that.
Okay, so a couple of tips I can and learnings from it as well. So I'm going to be very strict with drinking the water. I think the water, like you were just saying, when I drink it, even if I'm very controlled with it, and only take like little sips, I think it does something in me where my body just says, hey, this, like, I'm going to hurt you for doing this, even though, I am literally just sweating gallons, and so I'm on empty at the end. So very strict with the water. So I didn't drink any water until I hit 22Ks. And even then, it was sort of wash out the mouth, spit most of it out, and then basically half a mouthful, get that down. And then, I'd run like another 6Ks, nothing, and then it was only right at the end where I was just so screwed. I was like,
dousing it down,
do whatever the shit I want. And another one, I would say never stay at a comfortable pace. So in the past, I've tried for the 10Ks and 20Ks and stuff like that, just being like, I'll run and I'll stay at a comfortable pace, like a pace I think I can hold. The problem with that though, I think it's the mind gets lazy, and at least me personally, I drop off. And so what I think is a comfortable pace, and I'm maintaining it, no, it's going down. It's
comfortable 520, then comfortable 530, then comfortable 540.
Exactly. So throughout, I was always, and from the very get-go, so the first 2Ks, I ran in, I think it was like 8 minutes, 10 seconds or something. So 4-minute 05 pace. And even right then, I was purposefully saying, no, push it, go hard, like almost as hard as you can. I want you to get to 2Ks, so my strategy was I'll run 2Ks, and then I'll walk for about 50 meters, 100 meters, and then start running again. So so I was probably, running for approx 10 minutes, then I would walk for maybe 30 to 40 seconds, run for another 10 minutes again, something like that. And so it should be called a lazy pace, not a comfortable pace. It's a lazy pace. So throughout, I was always saying like, no, got to go harder. Like I'd get into the comfortable pace, and then I would just say, no, harder, like a little bit harder, not too much, but a little bit harder. So I was always uncomfortable throughout, which sucked because, being uncomfortable for 3 hours, 15 minutes isn't fun.
It's not fun, no.
But it got me good results right at the start. Another one is the mentality of the real battle is right now. So I was always saying, I'd get to sort of 6Ks. I'm still running okay, but to get into that uncomfortable territory, I'd have to say, no, like the real battle, you win right now. The real battle of this marathon is not at the end of the final dash, the final bit. No. You need to win it right now. So I was having to continually get into the state of,
that's this kilometer. It's like this kilometer. It's this run. It's this 10 minutes.
Of sort of like seriousness. There was no point where I was really sort of just, jogging and being like, oh yeah, okay, I can do this. I can do this. It was like, no. Harder now.
Which is interesting because, sometimes people will say, oh, what are you thinking when you run? And that relates to me heaps in terms of like when I lift, because like, you think, oh, what are you thinking when I lift, especially when I'm really into it. When you're into like that sort of run, no, you're thinking about like, you're just in the moment. You're really in the moment because you're like, oh, in the next minute I'm going to run like this. Next kilometer I'm going to get at this pace. Where for me, lifting, it's like, okay, like I'm lifting this 9 clean jerks. Like, that is all I'm thinking about. There is nothing else I'm thinking. It's like you just dialed into that.
Yeah, for sure. The other one, I guess, would be... jeez. I had it in my mind just then. Completely blanked. All right, you keep going on.
It's evaporated.
Yeah, no. Just like my bloody calves that evaporate into nothingness.
Go on.
I was running barefoot as well, so take that into account. That might be
on
why...
grass.
On grass.
On grass.
So that might be why the calves were hurting so much.
Although you always get calf pains when you run.
Exactly.
So in long distance. So
yeah, it's not like it was really helping.
Yeah. Okay. But you're one step closer. You're almost there. You were literally 10Ks away from the marathon.
So yeah. So I'm.
How long do you reckon it would have taken you to finish that as a marathon though?
Oh, dude.
That 10K would have been.
I would have needed
an hour.
No.
2 hours.
No, longer. I would have needed to sit down for 45 minutes. Pretty much just like I did in the shower afterwards.
And then go again.
And then start walking, and I would probably try and walk it. So that would take
like 2 hours extra or something.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, okay. It was not happening. I'd reached my limit, my wall.
Okay. Okay, here's a couple of mine I want to talk about, and I know we talked a little bit, so I might reduce one of these depending on how we go with these conversations, because they can get deep. So my first one is: the universe is often inexplicable, but not capricious. So a little bit of a definition there, so people get the right idea. So it's inexplicable, but capricious means changing according to no discernible rules or being unpredictable.
Yeah,
it's really unpredictable.
I was going to say, what's that pizza, which is like Capri? No. I'll look it up.
Okay, you'll have a look. So this came to me. I listened to a particular podcast. I think there was a similar theme going around the conversation, and it just sort of rang so true in a lot of stuff that's been happening across the week, where it's inexplicable, right? But it's not like it's unexplainable. Right, so sometimes things will happen, and like there's physical laws, like there's physics that happen, there's social law. Like if you go and do something and this happens, like there's some reason to explain what it is. But sometimes it can just happen because it happens, right? Like there is a possibility to it happening at some order, level, or magnitude, and like sometimes it'll happen, sometimes not. And for me, what it was like just today, so I went for a walk to the shops. So I went to the shops and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk right now. There was a really nice windy time at the moment, so I was like, oh, I can see clouds coming through, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go for a walk right now. It's gonna be perfect timing. I won't get too hot. I'll be able to come back. But nope, like just as I walked out, it got completely cleared up. It got extremely hot. I swear it was like the hottest bit of the whole day. And I was like, walk there and back. I was like melting. And it's one of those where it's just a tiny thing. You think, okay, that's inexplicable. You can't explain really that, but it's not unexplainable. As in, it's not capricious. Like, it's not the universe being like, oh, yeah, I'm going to smite one right now. It's just like, that's a possibility of happening, and it happened. So it also made me think about, not obviously that's a small thing, but a couple of other things across life being like, oh, sometimes you just have to appreciate that it's inexplicable. That's not that the universe is being capricious on you. So it's another way of looking at it in terms of, something shit might happen and being like, look, it's not like the universe is conspiring against you, trying to be capricious and be like sending some shit your way. It's like, no, it can be inexplicable and be like, okay, so what? You're going to have to deal with it anyways. So,
I think some people's barriers for that are quite low. So this is where you'll hear, I suppose, like, people who are really, I'm just going to say new agey, where they will find a way to say, that level that for you or me would be okay, that's really weird, explainable in a way, but definitely odds are it's not really going to happen, but for whatever reason it happened. They're the sorts who automatically go to some sort of higher power thing. Now whether that be people who are religious or people who believe in vibrations, people who believe in this sort of ethereal, ephemeral thing. You can't really touch it. You can't really prove it with science. Science is no good in this area. I'd just say quite a few. I'm not sure how much it would be, but a lot of people would be, it's unexplainable. What else would you say?
Completely unexplainable.
Inexplicable and unexplainable.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point actually, because there would be, I think that particular line of the universe not being capricious, people if you believe in a deity or God or something else, you would say they're unexplainable because there would be no reason to explain it. In the same sense, you'd have to say that there'd be things that physics or science can't explain.
Yeah.
So if you're in that camp, okay, maybe you disagree with that.
Yeah, it's so funny how it's almost like both people are arguing on the same side. So say you had like real scientists, real like no bullshit. There's only what science can prove type of person, then a real person who just will believe basically anything. If toads have actually have the secrets to the universe. Trees actually can physically talk to each other and send vibrations, and they all know this sort of stuff. And like spirits of the forest and all that. They both see the same person trying to do the same bullshit trick, which is there's something happened. They're trying to explain it with something that makes absolutely no sense, whether it be from the science point or from the other point.
Yeah, but I mean, even at that point,
funny.
when even if say with trees talking to each other or vibrating to each other, even if it is true or there's some portion of that that's true, I would still say it's not unexplainable. Like there is an explanation behind it. It is not the universe being capricious and being like, oh, okay, well, that's just what happens. Like, forget you not knowing how it is. But then it's almost even going beyond the fact of just like our sheer understanding of it. So it can be inexplicable to us as like humans, but it might not be unexplainable to other races, like other things. So like, let's take for instance, I don't know, like ultraviolet light or red light or something like that, where lobsters can see that. Let's say lobsters can see ultraviolet light and red light and a couple of other things. So they might see a picture or a scenario and go, wow, look at this crazy stuff that's happening right now. And for some reason it's creating, say, a convection movement of the wave, something like that. Now, us as humans, like we can see that happening and be like, oh, well, it can be inexplicable, but we might, like, it's not that it's unexplainable. It just might be like you don't have that concept or you don't even know because you can't see it or perceive it in the right way. So, yeah, it was just an interesting quote, and I wanted to just see what you sort of thought about it.
The other thing is, either side as well needs to explain it. How many people can have something completely bizarre happen to them and just go, whatever, and continue on? No, most people want to be like, this thing happened because X, and tell other people and
certainly
come up with theories about why Dogecoin got to however X many $1 million, even though it's a piece of shit coin and has no value or whatever.
Back Dogecoin, mate. Can't believe it. Okay, I want to talk about this other one. I want to make sure we get not too long in today's podcast. But
it was pizza capricciosa.
There you go. Thank you for pulling that up, sir. So the one that I do want to talk to you about is, so practice shouldn't focus on the outcome. Practice should be the outcome. So this was, I want to see if I can put it towards your running, but it also was in relation to a lot of my training. So in the past, I think I saw it as, okay, I'm going to do my training, and this training is going to lead up to me doing something. So I'm going to train like for 4 weeks doing this particular program, and then it'll lead to me doing an outcome. And that might mean it's like one day that I'll do a lift or one thing that I will do. And I think that's okay. Like that's kind of okay in that mindset. But at least for me personally, it's not the strongest way I think I can go at something to achieve an outcome. And so looking at it rather than practice to lead to an outcome, but the practice being the outcome makes it stronger. And I'll give you an example directly of what's been happening lately. So I've been trying, and I don't often do this for a very long time, but the Wendler training sort of setup, which is basically just a rotating 4-week protocol for lifting. It's particular for the compound movement. So bench, squats, deadlifts, and I'm adding also 4 snatches. And normally for me, my mindset would be like, okay, well, I'll do a 4-week cycle and then I'll max out. And that would be the outcome. That's the end result. But with Wendler, it's a little bit different because it's not about the final max result, because you never actually do one. It's always what's called like a 5+ or a 3+ or a 1+ rep. So it's all about getting maximal amount of reps at a pretty high number, like a 90% of your 1 rep true max, let's say. So you're never actually doing 1 rep maxes, but you're doing pretty heavy weights as it sort of loads around.
Yeah, close enough.
So it started to force me more to think about it as like, oh, it's this practice that's the actual outcome, because in me practicing, each time I'm getting like a new rep record or doing different weights, and that's like, oh, well, that's actually the outcome I'm looking for. In the end, if my 1 rep max doesn't go up, I'm like, oh, okay, but actually getting this practice being the outcome, like that seems to serve me more. It takes me away from the focus on the final outcome, which then, I mean, weirdly enough, but it probably will make my total outcome better, just because I'm not focusing on it as much, I guess, to say. So I don't know if you would see that it applies to you, because this is an interesting one. I could see a lot of ways where it wouldn't. Like people could debate it and be like, well, no, it's still about the outcome is the outcome. But I was like, oh, if you focus less on the final outcome and more the practice of the outcome, you might even get better results out of it.
Yeah. Look, I don't think it needs to be a either or. It can be a both sort of thing. But in general, I would say good advice is you want to be focusing more on the actual practice itself. So that gets you living in the present moment. There's just so many bad things come from the fucking around by really focusing on like, I need this thing, I need that, whatever it is. So for me personally, it's more finding those moments when I'm noticing myself tending towards the outcome. I set a goal last year to read 50 books, and then I was reading sort of shit books. I was reading books that were shorter. I was forcing myself to do certain things to hit that outcome. And funnily enough, I focus now more on the reading side, and I'm reading way more. Like I'm going to read double that almost this year. So I think it's definitely, it's a hard one. It's a real hard one. And once again, it's like, oh no, you've got to be focused right on the practice itself. But then it's like, oh, why am I doing this? And there's that extra something about competition or achieving a goal makes it feel good and whatnot. So
that's true as well. That's true. I'll leave it open ended for listeners at home to also ponder that question, whether that fits for them or not.
All right, here's a question for you. Are there any things you do which really don't have any goal orientation towards it? So any hobbies, any things you spend a significant amount of time on which doesn't have any?
It's interesting. Don't know if I do. Don't know if I've got anything that's not attributed to like at least partially some sort of goal.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one, I can't think of one.
So
can you think of one?
So for me, I would say meditation for me is probably the closest, which is, even though I have sort of one at the moment and I'm meditating a shitload sort of in preparation
for something,
afterwards I'm still going to do 10-15 minutes a day, and I'm not trying to get better at it because I've already learned enough times doing it that it's more, my mind's going to be crazy no matter what. I'm never going to get to monk style level where I can concentrate hard for 15 minutes and be totally aware all that time. So for that, it's sort of like, no, I'm just going to do this. It's more, I've learned it's good for me. There's no rhyme or reason to get better at it or anything. There's definitely no trying to get better at meditation. It's sort of, for me,
you just do it.
It's just, I'm just going to do it. So that's probably close up there. The other ones would maybe be, like a personal sort of family related stuff. So, I'm not trying to set the goal of spend more time with my family. It's more, be there for them when possible. Spend as much time as possible, but I'm not hitting goals trying to
I'm thinking maybe it'd be something
50 minutes with my brother this week.
Done.
Fucking tick that off.
Go on, not talking to him for 3 years.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of monk like selves, on the drive here I exhibited some monk level type meditation constraint levels, because the car to my right was on a turning right only lane. I was just driving straight, and right in front of him there was cars parked. So, and it was like on a red light. He should definitely he's on the wrong here. There's definitely he's on the wrong. And we kind of crawl up at the same time, and he just very slowly just starts merging in, right? No indicator, no nothing. He's just driving like this. And then we're basically I would say less than a hand distance apart.
Yeah.
When I had to beep the horn at him, and then he just kind of casually still kept going in. And it actually, I was fuming for maybe 1.5 seconds. I was actually it was so short. I was 1.5 seconds. I was I finished the beeping, the beep finished, and I was like, this goddamn motherfucker, can't he see? And then I was like, look, maybe, and I was straight up, I was oh, okay, maybe he didn't see. And I was okay, whatever. And I just started thinking about something else. But it was so quick, so unusual for me to have done that. I don't know what mindset I was in to be able to pull that off. Because normally I would have been I'm gonna ram this dude. I want to like imagine just like throwing him off a cliff.
The rage stays with you.
Man,
I'm noticing my moments of rage are short and sharp nowadays. They used to be sort of elongated ones, and I don't know what to put this down to, but yeah, sometimes I would just get a huge rage over something, and then it'll go super quick. Like it just really angry for 20 seconds, and then next thing I know, it's
are you good at when you need the anger to use it?
No.
Yeah.
I think it would be real interesting if I got into a fight one day, to see what would happen. So I've been close to one before in high school where these guys were just being dickheads. They're throwing it was just one of those things where it's like someone does something really innocuous, like a water balloon hitting near you. Someone says something, then another guy like tries to amp the fight up, and it just snowballs until it's like, two groups of kids squaring off. So
I'd be a sort of parent at that point where I'd be like, this is why I need to teach my kid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So like if I went to school and they were like, your son's choked him out and made him tap out, I'd be like, good boy, confirmed.
Yeah. So I was probably grade 10, maybe grade 11 at this stage. So what's that, 15, 16?
Yep.
I was just very hyped up, and it was almost fight time. The adrenaline was rushing as if it was fight time. So what would have happened if we actually had to fight? Would I have been angry during it? No, I think I would have been scared shitless the entire time. Like even throwing punches or doing whatever I needed to do. I think I would have been scared as hell. So, I'm trying to think of a time I've ever used anger productively. I'm just not an angry person. I'll get very small glimpses of it, but it's not something sustainable for me. It just goes away.
I mean, you couldn't sustain it. For me, it's like the short, sharp jabs. I've only ever used it that I can imagine really like for productive reasons twice, and like in two different areas. One is like definitely lifting. Like at any time I want to do like a really heavy lift, it's like acute anger can be used there, where it's just like anger at the weight, like not at anything else, but being like, this weight's about to die. Good luck to the weight. So it's like that sort of
murderous deadlifts.
And it's like as soon as it finishes, it's just like bloop, gone. It's like completely fine, just relaxed. And I can like, I think you've asked me this before, but yeah, I can like switch that on and off like on demand, easy, which is really good. But the other one is like when I'm angry at something occurring in a professional context that I can like pull myself away and do just on my own. I can get like super angry and then work like at a ridiculously fast pace.
Yeah.
Let's say 10 different things come in different areas and everyone's going like wild and getting angry at the team or whatever. I can kind of use that and be like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna show you what's what, and then just lay out like a mad summarized email with all the information to go like send it off and then be like, okay, cool. Step out of that sort of spot and move away.
Yeah. I can. All right. Here's a question for you. Can you use peace or maybe sort of tranquility to your advantage?
Yeah, so, definitely. In those exact same contexts that I just explained.
Yeah.
You could also play like super peace.
No, but can you? Is the question.
Can I?
Yeah.
I'm not that good. No, I'm not that good.
Yeah.
Oh, have I played it in some places? Yes. The one place I do is when I'm teaching someone who comes in as like a new member of a team. It's a new member of a sport. It's a new member of something. Because I don't generally go into it with any preconceived notions of like, oh, they're shit, or they're like, oh, they're really good stuff. I normally just go into it as like, I enjoy teaching someone a lot of information that I do know and getting them up to speed as much as possible. That I do apply like a lot of very peaceful, tranquil, like no matter what they're asking, no matter anything, I'm just like very, very calm about the whole process. That's probably the only time.
Yeah. So I was sort of thinking like, I can probably do this quite a bit. Meditating would be one way. In yoga, I definitely remember instances where there's people battling, like they're trying to, I can hear them like breathing hard, trying to get through the pain. Whereas for me, it's like, no, okay, this really sucks, but let's sink into it. Let's just take a breath, like, okay.
Another good place that I can do that at is in really cold places.
Okay.
So, like when I sometimes go into the freezer room after a gym workout, I can just sit in there. And again, it's not pleasant, but I can sit in there and just be like, and just kind of just completely flop and be totally fine with it.
I'm the opposite. Because I'm still doing cold showers and they're starting to suck again, and because it's getting into winter here in Brisbane. Well, autumn. Well, it's not even close to winter yet.
I'll tell you my sadistic story in a minute.
So I've still been doing cold showers where the first minute or two I'll sort of get into the cold. I use a little bit of anger or rage there, where it's like, all right, come on, Grant, let's do this. Turn it on. And I'm still like a real pussy. I'll put like one arm in first, get that all wet, put it in the other arm, get that all wet, get the leg wet, get the other leg wet, get the bald head wet, then do the like chest and then the back.
The back.
Oh yeah.
So in this like dungeon toilet that I've told you about in shower section of the new gym I'm going to.
One is literally going to.
I was going to take a picture of it the other day to show you. I'll do it next time.
Yeah, do it next time. Yeah.
But it is this location, right? So I just finished like a mad workout. I was like super warm. It was cool. And I went into one of them, and again, it was just full cold. It was super cold. And it was like one of those vibes, like just like peaceful in like the coldness there, which was like fine. But then I like turned the cold tap as far as I could as like possible and turned the hot one out. And it was flowing cold. It was flowing really cold. And I didn't get into a peaceful, not anger, but I just like smiled. Like I was just standing there like an idiot, like smiling, being like, "Oh man, this is so painful and good." Yeah, I was like, "Man, must be what psychopaths do." I was feeling in like everything. I was like, just feeling with coldness. So, anyways. So
sounds like it, man. All right, let's finish off with our mere mortal moments.
Cool.
So mine is hitting the wall. Yeah, it sucks, but I didn't know it was such a low wall. Like it, You hear about all these running videos like Run, Fat Boy, Run, or anyone, you do a marathon, you're going to hit the wall. It's like this huge thing. It's like visualize the wall as something massive in front of you and you're breaking through it. For me, I'm like bloody stumbling over like a brick wall yay high. It's just my calves, man. I hit the calf wall.
You hit the calf wall, that's the other thing.
I go head over ass over head, whatever it is, expression. It's such a low wall. It's like, it's right here. I can jump it if I want it, but I can't.
Dang, man. Mine is just inexplicable, but not capricious, is the universe. So
very good.
That's my mere mortal moment.
Deep. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another Mere Mortals Musing. I hope you enjoyed our chat about the universe, capriciousness, about running. If you're a runner yourself, what are your tactics? What are your techniques? Have you had sore calves? Do you... are you on board with the memes, the calf memes of how big they are, how hard that wall is? I'd love to actually know if people visualize a wall, what the wall
is. Yeah. Or if you've done a marathon, what was your wall?
Yep.
Was it a low wall, big wall? Did you see it? Was it actually you ran into a wall at 32 kilometers and you're like, oh fuck, shit, like, that really hurt. Damn it. That's what the wall means. So shit. All right, guys, that's basically it.
Yeah, do all the stuff. If you have a running friend, share this with them. If you have a friend who is capricious or who is confused by the world,
unexplainable,
the unexplainable, inexplicable world, send this to them. This could help them out. Other than that, we'll leave it there for today. One, kick us off.
Immortals. One out.
Current out. Shoo.